Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Assemblyman David Weprin from Queens County, and I'm joined here by Citizens for Safe Endoscopy, as well as Bill Drake on my right from the Esophageal Cancer Awareness Association. We are gathered here outside Yorkville Endoscopy. As many of you already know, Yorkville Endoscopy was the site of a tragic incident in September 2014 that led to the passing of one of New York's most beloved celebrities, comedians, and basically a New York icon, Joan Rivers. This is the former site. We understand they've moved since then. Although there were a number of missteps that led to Joan Rivers' unexpected passing, her passing shined a light on the complications that can arise from an upper endoscopy. Right now, an upper endoscopy involves sedating the patient and inserting the endoscope through the patient's mouth for observation. This places the patient under unnecessary risk, as patients under sedation are always at a greater risk of irritation from the medical instruments. This irritation can lead to swelling, which can lead to heart attacks, strokes, and respiratory arrest. With over 1 million endoscopies, upper respiratory endoscopies performed in the United States annually, and complications arising in about 0.5% of them, over 50,000 Americans are affected by complications from endoscopic procedures. This would be fine if there was no better alternative to an upper endoscopy, as it would be our only choice. But there is an alternative. You make a TNE procedure that does not require a patient to be sedated and is administered by passing a tube through the nose rather than the mouth. When you add to that TNE treatments cost less, are easier to sterilize, and require a shorter recovery time, it begs the question as to why patients are not administered a TNE treatment or even the option of a TNE treatment.
Yeah, that's right. TNE.
Yeah. That is why I have introduced Assembly Bill 9763, the Upper Endoscopy Reform Act. This bill will save lives, lower medical costs, and offer patients the opportunity to make an informed choice. The Upper Endoscopy Reform Act creates a patient's Bill of Rights, listing the advantages and disadvantages of both a traditional upper endoscopy and a TNE treatment, giving the patient an option to pursue either procedure. In case one method is more suitable for a patient than another, the bill would allow doctors to use their own discretion on a case-by-case basis. This bill is not a mandate. If your doctor says you need an endoscopy, New York State will not say no. But I strongly believe that a patient has a right to informed consent with respect to the procedures being performed on them. This bill also regulates the sterilization of endoscopic instruments so that they are fully sterilized. If an instrument is not sterilized and simply disinfected, the patient must be informed, as there are both risks and benefits to proceeding with the treatment with non-sterilized equipment. Informed consent and patient choice are basic human rights that no person should undergo a procedure without having all the available information available to them. We can save lives, lower costs, and provide informed consent by passing my bill, the Upper Endoscopy Reform Act.
Patient choice.
I will now turn it over to Bill Drake from the Esophageal Cancer Awareness Association. Bill?
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody here who's come to talk about this bill, and particularly Assembly Weprin for introducing this bill to the state of New York. I'm basically here to represent individuals who are at risk for complications of the esophagus. And right now there is an estimated 70 million of us across the country who have acid reflux, who have certain symptoms in their esophagus that need to be looked at and need to be somehow addressed. And traditionally, since I was diagnosed September 11th, 2013. I was diagnosed with a traditional endoscopic procedure. I was put under propofol, which is the type of anesthesia that you may not wake up from at times. And at times you may wake up in the emergency room with aspiration to your lungs. I did not know there was another opportunity to have my esophagus looked at. I didn't know there was something called a T&E, transnasal esophagoscopy, which allows the esophagus to be looked at minimally invasively, absolutely no sedation, and it's done quickly while you're sitting and talking and chatting with the doctor. And the high-res, high-definition imagery that you get from a T&E allows the doctor to actually diagnose any complication in your esophagus and actually make a biopsy. So what we're here to do is we're here to talk about a bill that is meant to absolutely change the way the gastroenterology industry operates. There's 30 billion reasons why they're not going to be so interested in this bill. Because to have a T&E costs about a third as what it would cost to have an upper endoscopy. It's safe on the patient, it's quicker, the diagnostic capability is better, if not the same. There's also a much less risk of infection. The way this equipment has been sheathed in endo sheath technology is allowing patients to be scoped without any chance of risk of infection. Now what I'm doing is I'm representing citizens who need to learn and to understand that this bill will give everybody an opportunity to know there's a choice to be had. When a GI or a general practitioner or a gastroenterologist is talking about looking at your esophagus, you want to know that you can have it done with a T&E. And the industry is preventing a lot of folks from knowing about that. Difficult situation here, but this bill is the beginning of something big. And once this gets approved in the state of New York, don't think we're not going to try to move it through New Jersey. And I'm looking at Massachusetts right now. So this bill is the beginning, and the Assemblyman has exactly the right language put together, which represents citizens across this country who suffer from the types of conditions that your esophagus needs to be looked at in a safe way that's also very, very cost effective. So that's what I'm here for, and thank you all for coming out today and helping me.
Yeah,
you know what? You know what? These guys, you know, my life could have been saved if this had been done 3 years ago. But my life is not going to be saved, okay? My son's standing there, and I'm not going to see his kids, all right? So to me, this is personal. I have esophageal cancer growing in me right now. It has been looked at, it has been treated. Most of the folks who are at my stage haven't had the time to advocate anything. The only thing they're trying to do is live another week or another month if they're lucky. Most of the folks who have esophageal cancer that have advanced and have not been diagnosed early die within 6 months. Some of us live 5 years. Some of us live longer. But I'm lucky because I'm here standing, I'm a healthy guy, I can advocate for all those folks, and thank you guys. Let's get T&E bill going, let's get it done, let's get the press, let's do it now, all right? Thank you. I'd like to hand it over to...
I'm now going to hand it over to David Schwartz.
Thank you,
David?
Assemblyman. I don't have too much to add other than the fact that these two guys are just heroes of mine. It takes a lot for Assemblyman Weprin to introduce a bill where the entire medical society is going to be against it, okay? And as my other hero, Bill Drake, said, who is just an incredible advocate for esophageal cancer awareness, there are 30 billion reasons why the doctors are going to be against this bill. And you know what? My fight is not with the individual doctors, okay? The individual doctors, they go to work, they don't really know any better. It's a conspiracy on the part of the medical societies and the way medicine is taught. They don't even learn T&E in medical school. And the reason why they don't learn T&E in medical school is because there are 30 billion reasons why they don't learn it in medical school. I get the fact that doctors have to make money and they have to earn a living and they have to feed their families. But they cannot earn a living and feed their families on the backs of innocent patients. They just cannot, they cannot do that.
Uninformed patients.
And someone's gonna have to stand up for the patients. Someone's got to stand up for the patients. We're standing in front of a building right now where in August of 2014, Joan Rivers went in for a very simple procedure. It was a simple procedure just to analyze her vocal cords, just to study her vocal cords, because everybody remembers Joan Rivers' famous voice and the vocal issues that she had. That procedure absolutely, undoubtedly could have been done by means of a transnasal esophagoscopy, could have been done in 5 minutes. If you go onto our website, we have a video of the procedure. I ask you all to go onto our website so you can see with your own 2 eyes on how easy the procedure is. The website is safeendoscopy.com. Safeendoscopy.com. And Bill, what's your website?
It's ecaware.com.org. ecaware.org.
This is very dark, and this is going to be a fight. You're going to hear a lot of propaganda from the other side. But what the other side can't do is they can't own the facts. The bottom line is, I want to talk about the bill for a second. There's 3 pieces to this bill. Number 1 is the Joan Rivers portion of the bill, the T&E bill, where the bill mandates transnasal esophagoscopy with exceptions. We believe that at least half the procedures could be done by means of T&E. There are 10 million procedures every single year. 5 million could be done by T&E. That would save the healthcare system $15 billion a year. So there's all kinds of talk about the escalating healthcare costs of Obamacare. United Healthcare alone said they would be losing $1 billion this year. This bill by Assemblyman Weprin could obviate that just by passing this one bill. United Healthcare would not be losing $1 billion a year. So we're hoping the insurance companies also come out for this. Even the darker secret, which is addressed in this bill, though, is the issue of cross-contamination. It's a separate issue, but it's related. There are 270,000 cases of cross-contamination every single year in the United States. It could be a common cold, it could be a small case of cross-contamination, but it could be hepatitis, it could be tuberculosis. We've had cases of Crutchfield-Jacobs disease, and we see the UCLA outbreaks of the superbug. We've had those outbreaks. It is impossible to sterilize an endoscope. Absolutely impossible. We're asking for that standard to be met because of the channels in an endoscope. It is impossible to clean an endoscope. I challenge anyone to go to the service centers where they service these endoscopes. And what you'll find when they take the parts out, you'll find blood, you'll find mucus, you'll find fecal matter stuck in these endoscopes because they cannot properly clean it, and that's why we have the issue of cross-contamination today. The doctors are being intellectually dishonest. They are being intellectually dishonest because they don't want to face the problem. They're trying to hide it, they're trying to put it under the rug, and as patient advocates, we are not going to allow that. We are not going to allow it to continue. We want to sit down, we want to have a dialogue, but we thank Assemblyman Weprin for his bill and how this is going to start not just a discussion in New York, but a national discussion. So we thank you, Assemblyman Weprin. And I want to thank Bill Drake, who's just my hero. And I look forward to fighting the fight with you. We're going to go all across this state. We're going to go all across this country until we have T&E, and we're going to stop endoscopic cross-contamination. Congratulations, Bill. Thank you.
No problem. Any questions?
T&E!
Okay.
T&E!
Question.
Yes.
Of course, you mentioned that there are 30 billion reasons for why they don't want this procedure to come into law. What are some of the biggest reasons and the biggest obstacles?
Where I come up with the $30 billion number? Okay, let me explain it. So there are 10 million upper endoscopic procedures every single year in the United States.
Okay.
The reimbursement, and I should have explained this, the reimbursement is $3,000 per procedure for a regular EGD procedure where the patient comes in, there's anesthesia, they lose an entire day of work, and they're in the office. That's exactly what Joan Rivers had, and she didn't come back. Okay? Now, a small percentage, I don't want to scare everybody, but 0.05% of those procedures end up with some sort of complication. That's 50,000 people a year end up with some sort of complication, and unfortunately, we do have deaths every single year. So what this bill addresses is the T&E would cause the patient not to be put out, all right? They wouldn't be under anesthesia. The way T&E works is the patient is upright, and it's on the video. I really would love everyone to watch the video.
Okay.
Patient is upright. The doctor puts a spaghetti-like instrument through the nose. It goes down. It goes right in the back of the throat, so your reflux is not, you don't have the reflux, and it goes down, and you can examine the vocal cords, the esophagus. Also, these procedures are videotaped, all right, as opposed to a normal EGD procedure where just pictures are taken, all right? So the reason why this doesn't happen is 30 billion reasons, because if you take the $3,000 and you multiply it by 10 million procedures, the medical profession makes $30 billion a year by traditional EGD procedures. And we're only saying we could take half of those out of the system. So half of those are just acid reflux screening, esophageal cancer screening. The applications are tremendous because it just takes 5 minutes without anesthesia to have the T&E instrument put down and to examine your vocal cords, your esophagus, and your upper stomach area. So
What is the reimbursement on the T&E coverage?
great question. $200. $200. So it's $3,000 versus $200. 30 billion reasons why doctors are trying to shove this under the rug. That's the reason. It's the money.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I've had it done.
I had it done.
We both had it
We
done.
both had it done.
It kind of tickles a little bit, and you're given a local anesthetic that sprays in your nose. It's like the size of a wet noodle. It slides down. You're talking and you're drinking, and you're looking at the screen, high definition video.
You have to drink that white chalky stuff.
No, this is through your nose. It's actually just a small
It's a
anesthetic.
spray
And
on the nose.
As it comes in, you can feel a little tickling in your throat, and before you know it, it's this long. Before you know it, you're looking at potentially a lesion or a clean esophagus. You want a clean esophagus, and you're great. And then it comes out, and you're done. 5 minutes. If there's something there that's not so great, called Barretts Esophagus, where the esophagus cells have been in a way affected by the acid reflux or smoking, or many people bulimia, people who overeat. There's also coughing can create an issue. That high definition camera can see it in absolute clarity. It's videotaped. Not only that, the operator of the instrument, whether it's a GI or an ENT doctor, can biopsy the tissue right then and there while you're looking at it, talking to him. Pulls it out. You go home, done. You walk away having a conversation about your esophagus. In my case, in some people's case, you've got a terminal illness down there, which you will not survive. Okay? You don't want that.
So you're saying that you want to pass a bill that makes the big process less expensive and easier on patients. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Or give consumers a choice. Give consumers a choice after consultation with their doctors once they disclose the pros and cons of each procedure. And if they should determine not to have the more expensive procedure without anesthesia, there's obviously less of a medical risk once you don't go under anesthesia versus going under it.
And one last question. If Joan Rivers had the T&E, do you think she still would have been alive today?
I'll take it.
Well, look, there's definitely a more of a chance. I mean, I'm not God, and I don't know, I can't determine, but clearly everything happened after going under anesthesia and some of the complications. So had she not been under anesthesia, clearly the chances of something going wrong, I think, might have been different. But
I'll on behalf of our group, she absolutely would have been alive after that procedure. There's no question. Go on the video and see how a T&E procedure is done. Okay, they absolutely gave her the EGD exam, the anesthesia. We all know, there was malpractice in the case. There was medical malpractice, there's no question about it. But what happened was they went in and they touched her vocal cords, which is a no-no. You cannot touch a person's vocal cords during an EGD procedure. And so if someone touches your vocal cords while you're upright, what are you going to do? You're going to cough. You're going to aspirate. You're going to have a reaction. Under the EGD procedure, her vocal cords are paralyzed, and she was unable to have that reaction, and that's what really killed her at the end of the day. Had she had a T&E procedure, she would have been upright. She wouldn't have been put to sleep. It would have gone through the nose. I've had it done myself. In fact, the video, I'm the patient having it done. And it takes 5 minutes for an examination of your vocal cords and for your esophagus. It is a perfect screening tool for that. And then there's so many other applications that we're not even thinking about. Think about firefighters who are fighting a fire and now, get all this garbage in their lungs. They could easily have a 5-minute T&E procedure without being put to sleep to see if there's any effects from that fire. There are so many applications here.
One last question. What could the public do to help you support the passing of this bill?
Well, just having the press talk about it, advertising that there is a bill in Albany which will give people an alternative, and to support that legislation. I would hope that I'll have at one point public hearings on the issue where we'll hear from everybody, including the medical community, and what their opposition may or may not be. But basically, I'm representing the consumer and the public, and I believe in patients' Bill of Rights at all times. People should be informed and have informed consent, and give the patient, the consumer, the alternative.
What's the name of the bill?
The bill is the Upper Endoscopy Reform Act.
Been introduced yet?
Yeah, I just introduced it. Assemblyman David Weprin from Queens. That's me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Woo!